So I'm going to introduce her before I bring her up. So we are going to move into the almost at the end here, but this is a powerful presentation and a speaker that I wanted to bring today. It's only right that we close today with one thing the world often forgets to honor, which is stillness and slowness, and the calm that lives within us when we are safe enough to feel it. That's exactly what our closing keynote today is going to offer. We have Kate Hedler is a leader who knows the power of pace. Co-founder of Mind Heart Connect, she brings decades of experience in both business leadership and integrates health. But what makes her unforgettable is this. She doesn't just talk about nervous system regulation, she transmits it through how she holds space. So let me say that again. She doesn't just talk about nervous system regulation, she transmits it through how she holds the space. Kate believes that true resilience begins with nervous system awareness and heart-health connection. She creates space for transformation, not by pushing, but by making it safe to come home to yourself. So her session is titled The Wisdom Within, Tapping into Your Sense of Calm. And as we close the summit, this is your invitation to do the same. Stop reaching, stop rushing, and root into the calm that's already been with you all along. Kate is here to help you remember it and help you feel it and to help you carry it forward. So please join me in welcoming our final keynote speaker, Kate Hedler, right? Am I saying it right?
Helder. Don't worry, it's a common mistake. Hedler can get thrown in there as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. And thank you for such a beautiful, warm welcome. And I've caught snippets of what you've been doing over the past 5 days by jumping back into the YouTube link and seeing some of the other presenters. And my heart is full to see what you've initiated and what you're bringing into the world. And I think if all of us can just play our own little part in what we have to offer and to bring people back to their hearts, to really feel that we don't need to look for the solutions externally, we hold it within. Okay, so that's what today's about. I know you've just had a beautiful grounding exercise as well, but I'm just going to take us through a very brief grounding exercise, because this particular exercise is something that you will be able to use each and every day at any time when you might feel a little bit taken off track. Okay, and it looks weird, this tapping stuff. I'd be curious to know how many of the participants who are on here today live who have actually experienced emotional freedom techniques or tapping, because it's been around for quite a long time, but it's still one of those things that's emerging and coming through. So I'll just ask you to follow me. You don't need to be overthinking this, but just follow me. And we're just going to start by taking a gentle breath in and out and just tapping here on the crown of our heads. And another breath in and out. Just bring us to this room, bring us to ourselves. The next point is what we call the start of the eyebrow. And we just tap there gently. Another breath in and out. Side of the eye, gently in and out. Under the nose and out. Under the lips and out. Collarbone, just beneath the bone there where you get to the fleshy part. Gentle breath in and out. Under the arm, if you're wearing a bra, just on the bra strap line. If you're not, just under the arm there, a couple of inches. And out. Okay, beautiful. That is the most simple technique, and what we're doing is we're tapping on prescribed acupressure points, and that is sending signals to our brain that we can, what we call here in Australia, calm the farm. You can calm down a little bit. That is a beautiful thing to remember, and that's just the first one. I want today's session with you, because it's so brief, to be full of tools that you'll be able to take with you. And it's just a matter of planting a seed of curiosity, okay? I know Kohila's going to send out a newsletter after this, and there's some links in there. There's tapping diagrams. There's a little bit more information. So please don't feel you've got to be there taking notes right now. Just use this time to feel what it feels like when we embody and we can regulate our physiology and bring ourselves back to that state of calm. The reason I'm so passionate about tapping is tenfold. I was first introduced to it in 2011, working with a girlfriend on another project. And she said, "Oh, what's wrong with you today?" And I said, "What are you talking about?" And she said, "Oh, you seem to be really tense." And I went, "Oh, don't be ridiculous. Let's just get on with the work we need to do." And so the next thing I knew, she was opposite her kitchen bench talking to me. She said, "Just follow me." And she started tapping on points. She said, "Just keep talking to me while you're tapping." And this was my first introduction to it. And I was a little bit dismissive. And I thought, there might be something in this, but I'm not really going to look at it. Fast forward to where we are today, I was so taken by it. I actually went and trained in it. I remember walking out of the training thinking, oh my goodness, why doesn't everybody know about this technique? I met all the right people through synchronistic moments, that it's a whole book, to understand how I came across Australia's leading researcher in emotional freedom techniques, Dr. Peter Stapleton, another person from your side of the world, Dr. Laurie Layden from Santa Barbara. She actually brought emotional freedom techniques into post-school shooting environments. So she was very involved in the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting. Post that, she thought she was going for 3 weeks. She was actually asked by Nick Ortner from the Tapping Solution, which some of you may know of, to come and support in that area because he knew of her work in Rwanda with all the post-genocide survivors. So Laurie went over there thinking for 3 weeks, and I think it was 3 to nearly 4 years later, she returned back to Santa Barbara. During that time, I reached out, we connected. I got her all the way out to Australia. We ran an event about, I was really wanting to bridge that gap between the lines of skepticism to where we can be embodying this technique. After that, we formed a non-profit. The non-profit today has trained hundreds of frontline workers in emotional freedom techniques, first aid. And what I have witnessed in the field, and this is where I get a little bit teary, what I've witnessed in the field in some of the most traumatized communities, when people, individuals take this technique on for themselves and embody it for themselves and feel the relief and they can leave their traumas behind, is profound. And that would be a whole other session to really communicate that to you effectively. But if you're willing to give it a try, if you're just curious, and I know the previous speaker was talking about being curious and having an open mind for curiosity, emotional freedom techniques will really be able to help support you. So I'm just going to jump into a few slides and then we're going to have a bit of a practice. So if I can just pull those slides up, that would be great. Okay, yep, that's me. So what is emotional freedom techniques? You might just hear it referred to as EFT tapping or that tapping thing. What it does, it is a tool that allows us to calm our physiology. It's using psychotherapy and acupressure. Now, we know acupuncture and ancient Chinese wisdom has been around for thousands of years, so it's blending the two together. It involves combining what we call a cognitive acceptance statement. So a cognitive statement is just saying, even though I'm feeling this distress, and the acceptance statement is, I accept that's how I feel about myself. That's the simplistic version of it. And as we're saying those things, we're tapping on prescribed points, okay? The win here is it is self-applied. You don't need to have a counsellor or somebody else on the side of a Zoom screen or in front of you as a therapist. It is self-applied, okay? And beautiful for you to be able to share with children, with educators. Let's get the word out there because this really is a game changer. hundreds and hundreds of clinical trials. So it's not just this woo thing. I had a very deep line of skepticism in my upbringing. And when I saw all the research behind this as a technique, I was absolutely blown away. The media exposure now, we're seeing it so often. And just in the last couple of weeks for you in the US, it was in the Oprah magazine, and also today.com has just done a big blog about it. And Australia's researcher, Peter Stapleton, she was actually talking within that article as well. Now, a picture paints 1,000 words, doesn't it? You might look at this and go, what am I looking at? This is from a EFT research study where Dr. Peter Stapleton decided to run a study on food cravings, and they had participants who actually came in and they had eating disorders, food craving issues, they were overweight, and they actually were put into an fMRI machine so they could track what was going on in the brain. And on the first one on the left-hand side before EFT, the little coloured areas, that's where the brain was lighting up, and as the person was actually looking at these images of food, okay? So this was all in relation to food cravings. After a period of 4 weeks of utilising emotional freedom techniques, when they were then back in the fMRI machine, there was zero activation in those areas of the brain which were actually the reward centre of the brain, okay? So it's just a snapshot I want to give you today. It's out there, it's proven. So the tapping points, we use the fleshy side of the hand here, and this is the part where we use to do our setup statement, okay? Then we've got the other 8 points that I just used with you in the tap and breathe, but we start at the start of the eyebrow, side of the eye, under the nose, under the lips, collarbone, under the arm, and then we finish on the top of the head, okay? So this is the version that's been used in clinical EFT, and that's where all the research has been done. There are a lot of other hybrids out there. There are tapping scripts, tapping videos, and what have you, but they're not what has been researched. A common theme that can come through is, oh, I tried that tapping thing and it didn't work for me. Okay, it will be because they've tried to just go along with a little tapping video. That is not clinical EFT, and that is not where the shifts can come from. It can be palliative for a period of time, but it's not going to be something that's going to hold you in good stead moving forward. Do I sound like I'm talking fast? I just have so much I want to be able to share with you. Okay, so the process, we state what is true for us in the moment. This is the negative cognition, okay? Fancy term for what is true for you in this moment, okay? Even though I feel this tension, the balancing statement, I accept this about myself. Or it might be, I deeply and completely accept myself. There are numerous versions you can use there. We rate the discomfort on a scale of 0 to 10, and this is what is called the SUD scale, subjective unit of distress. And 0 is no distress, and 10 is I'm feeling really distressed, okay? The somatic component of tapping, because it is a body-based technique, and we know today that somatic therapies are the game changer out there in the world, because trauma is held in the body, okay? And if we cannot release it from the body, it will stay stuck in our cellular makeup to eternity, okay? So this is a really key point to understand. As we go through the tapping points, we're then verbalizing, okay? And the process we repeat until we get down to a level of 0 to 2. So basic recipe might look something like this. Now, emotional freedom techniques, I think there's 47 different techniques. Tap and breathe is 1. The basic recipe is 2. There is a myriad of techniques out there that are deeper and do a lot of this trauma healing work that I referred to, but this is just a snapshot to plant that seed with you today to be able to have that curiosity to take back into your homes, your hearts, your communities, and your schools, okay? So We acknowledge there's something to change and we rate it. So we state the problem. Even though I feel this tension, I completely accept myself. We then tap through the 8 points while saying a short reminder phrase, this tension, okay? We take a breath at the end of what we call one round of tapping, and we tune in to where we're feeling on that scale of 0 to 10. And we keep going through the process until we get the rating down to a 0 to 2. So recap the points, and then we're going to have a practice session as a group, okay? So as we state the setup statement, we're tapping on that fleshy part of the hand, and we state the setup statement 3 times, okay? Once we've done that, we then move into all the other points as we're then just stating a reminder phrase. All right, that is it for slides. And now we're going to jump in and have a practice. Okay, so is everybody ready? I'm just going to have a quick sip of water. I love seeing the comments come through. You're geeing me up. It's only 6:25 here on a Saturday morning in the middle of winter. That's why I've got the bright top on, because I wanted to be here and alert and be my best for you in this session. So let's go. Let's think about something that might be a general thread here for everybody. I was thinking it might just be something we could just tap on. A sense of tension or overwhelm. You've got all this information that you want to take back with you, and we'll go through and do what we call a round of tapping. So if you could just think for a moment, what might be bringing a little bit of tension to you at the moment? It could be that your dog's by your feet and you've got to go and take them for a walk, or it might be you've got to race off to school and pick up the kids. Whatever it is, just think about what's this tension that you're feeling, okay? And I want you to have a number in your head, what that tension feels like, okay? Somewhere between 0 and 10. 10, I'm feeling really tense. 0, I'm cool as a cucumber. Okay, so we're going to start by tapping. And I just want you to all follow on with me. And if you can, and you're not in a work environment and you can actually say this out loud, please do. If not, just think it in your head. That's fine. Okay. Even though I feel this tension, I can feel it in my body. I accept that's how I feel. Even though I'm feeling this tension, and I can feel it in my body, I accept this is just how I feel. Even though I'm holding this tension in my body, I accept that's just how I feel. Okay, start at the eyebrow point. This tension, side of the eye, feeling this tension. And don't forget to breathe. Under the nose, feeling this tension. Under the lips, feeling this tension. Under the collarbone, this tension. Under the arm, feeling this tension. On top of the head, this tension. Okay, and just close your eyes and take a deep breath. And just notice what you notice, 0 to 10 on that scale as to where your tension is. And if you feel like putting your numbers in the chat, please do. Maybe the number you had first and then what it is now. And I'll just talk to that very briefly as that comes through. Because what we can find is that sometimes our number might actually go up. And people go, oh, here we go. I was a 9. I was now at a 6. When the number goes up, don't be scared. It's just that you might have tuned into that for the very, very first time. And you might have stated that for the very first time, okay? We need to be true to ourselves, okay? This is really important. Beautiful. I'm seeing all these numbers coming through and going down, which is wonderful. That is one round of tapping in the simplest and simplest of forms, okay? We could go through and do another round if we had more time. It's not what today's about. This is just really to give you tension gone. Beautiful. So can you imagine if you were just to have a couple of take-homes from today's session, okay? Number 1, Tap and breathe. I want you to set a reminder on your phone, an alarm on your phone, and it might be when you go back to work on Monday. Set it for every hour. And when that alarm goes off, just pause and do one round of tap and breathe. It doesn't matter if you start at the start of the eyebrow or if you start at the top of the head, whatever works. Just do it. And gentle breaths in and out. Because when we can regulate our physiology, we can show up, we can be our best selves, we're less reactive, we're able to support anyone around us from a very different place because we're calm and regulated. It's building micro moments. The second thing I'd like you to do and take from today is just notice at any point throughout the day where you feel something in your body. And it might be a colleague at work has said something and all of a sudden you feel like you've been kicked in the stomach. Or you're feeling like you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. Or you're anxious about something and you can't take that full breath. Our bodies are always trying to signal to us what's going on. And when we can use that as a choice point, the choice point then allows us to come to this place from somewhere different. And you might think, gee, even though Sue, my work colleague, just said that to me, and I feel it in the pit of my stomach, I accept that's just how I feel right now. You do that 3 times and then you go through. I can't believe she said that to me. I really feel that in my stomach. I can't believe it. Why would she say that to me? Why would that happen? And breathing as we go through the process, okay? This is the simplicity of it, okay? It's up to each of us to be able to regulate our own bodies, to regulate and calm our minds so that we can go out of our heads and into our hearts. Our hearts hold the wisdom, okay? We've got it within. We don't have to look for it out there. It's not out there. If you keep looking out there, I'm sorry, you might be looking for a very long time and still feel you're looping in the same loop, okay? What I've witnessed through the years that I've been introduced to this technique and how it's transformed my life is profound. And this is an invitation to you today to be able to stay curious and feel lighthearted with this, because the world's very serious out there. It's chaotic. And I know throughout your summit, you've been looking at the MC systems and the MY systems. Let's come back to the my systems, to that innate wisdom, to what we're holding here in our hearts. We all have it, and it's up to us to make that choice if we want to share it. My reflection for you today is calm isn't something that we chase, okay? It's something we build a relationship with, one breath and one tap at a time. So please move forward back into your lives and into your weekend with a heart full of curiosity. And I'd just like to thank all of you for your presence, for being willing to have a play. And Kohila, thank you so much for inviting me on and being very much a part of this summit. I know I've got a girlfriend who's very close to me who I went to school with, who's actually online with this call today because she's an educator and she was so drawn to what you're doing and has loved it as well. So I look forward to doing whatever I do with you in the future. Would be wonderful.
I have a question. So you took us first time. There's a lot of things, as you said, out there, right? A lot of variations of the tapping, right? There's no right or wrong. Is there right or wrong? Should we look for right or wrong?
I think the most important thing there is to know that if you're just running with tapping videos or tapping scripts, they will be palliative. It might bring you a little bit of relief in the moment, but it's not going to get to possibly your limiting beliefs or your core issues that you're holding. And we know we've formed those in the formative years, and it might be a core issue may be I'm not good enough or I'm all alone. And anytime things happen to us throughout the day, it'll be those core issues or limiting beliefs. That's what's being triggered. Okay. So there's no right or wrong in what I've shown you today to nurture yourself and to really bring yourself back into that place of calm. But don't get distracted with all the other options that are out there or other hybrids of tapping, because they're not going to be able to support you in getting into that root cause of what's triggering you.
Yeah. So there's the first round you did, you were saying like here and here. In this part, for me, I get very emotional or sometimes angry.
Yeah.
Is that
Yep.
normal?
You'll find that you've actually got a point, and it's the same one for me, Kohila, here. As soon as I go here, I just want to take a deep breath. That's my initial reaction. So there is no right or wrong. Have I got 2 minutes to share a really quick story?
Yes.
So my son is now 20, and if you imagine 14 years ago when I was first introduced to the technique, he was only 6, and it was so easy to be able to share a technique with him at the age of 6. But when he was 16, we were actually in a situation where we were driving to a country property. And when he was about 2.5, 3 years of age, we were actually caught in a horrific bushfire in Australia at a remote property. And we were stuck in this particular place for 5 days. We couldn't get out. We were all safe. Many people died. And he still carried that trauma. And I probably did a little bit too. So on this summer's day, we were driving to this country property, and my 16-year-old son is in the passenger seat. And I see him look across at this smoke in the distance, and he went into a heightened response. He saw the smoke and he started to panic. And as he was talking to me, I could hear the panic in him. So I'm driving, and I said, Tom, I just want you to follow me. And I explained to him what was going on. I said, I just want you to tap on these points. We're just going to talk and tap. And so I talked to him and I said, you're just feeling this as a result of the bushfire that we were in all those years ago. And I went through the points. It's okay. I just want you to take a deep breath. Take a deep breath, or gentle breath, I should say, on each point. And as we went through these points, as I just talked and tapped with him and he followed what I was doing, 16-year-old boys aren't quite as compliant as little ones, but he did it. And within a minute and a half, he went from completely heightened out of his mind about seeing this smoke, knowing that the smoke was right at the property we were going to and where his father was, to completely regulated and calm. And he was saying, Mum, as soon as we get to the farm, keep the trailer connected to the car, stay by the car. I'm going to go and find Dad. You stay there where the sprinklers can be on, and I know we'll all be safe. And off he went to find his dad. And I knew I was safe where I was, but this is the power of tapping, okay? Calming the farm. When we get the amygdala, which is the smoke detector of the brain, we switch it offline, because as soon as it comes into play, we lose the prefrontal cortex of our brain. We lose that higher functioning and thinking, okay? So just go through, tap and breathe. If that's just the one thing that you take from our time together today, that is a game changer in itself. And Kohila, that is my most favourite point. Always take a deep breath.
That makes me feel really good. Right there is for me too. Like, it's a powerful point for me.
Yeah. So thank you. It really is. It's a gift For those of you with younger children, jump in. They're so malleable. With little kids, you just can use 4 points. Top of the head, eyebrow, collarbone. They love this one.
Yeah.
Sometimes they just call it bear thumps and they'll use their fists. Okay. So there's a lot of info out there. Dr. Peter Stapleton, peterstapleton.com, evidence-based EFT. They've got a world of information about tapping, and Kohila and I will speak. I'm able to connect you in with a dear colleague in the US who'll be able to support you moving forward as well.
I love to have you back to train some of our coaches, because we want to bring this to the world. Like you said, why aren't we using it? So it's like breath. Breath is ours, right? It's our birth. It is.
Yep.
We got it. I have hand and I have hands and I have the parts. Why am I not doing it, right?
Correct.
Why
Correct. So just listen to your body. What's your body trying to tell you? That's your first step.
Yep. And it also like dissociates. Like when we get mad, we're like mad, but this one gives you an opportunity to release and dissociate from that situation truly, right? As well in the moment. So it's very powerful. It only could be so powerful for our kids.
Absolutely. And also to think, the more regulated that we can be,
yes,
the more regulated our kids are.
Yeah.
They're a mirror of us. If we're holding that tension,
look at my
and
plant.
we're flipping it,
the one that's regulated is regulating this, and they're all moving this way. All the branches have been moving to the regulated unrooted plant that I had from the beginning. It's beautiful. As you said, you were saying how we feel it in the heart. Those plants are feeling. One is more rooted, right? Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for coming and joining us. And we will connect again, and we will take this journey further and help more people. That's
beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Stay well.